What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you the first edition of my NHL 2020 mock draft. This is the earliest I've ever done it. Usually I wait until after the draft lottery, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do it like at the halfway point of the season, especially with the World Juniors just ending. I think that kind of affected some of the prospect grades. So seeing as the draft lottery has not happened yet, we're actually going to start off with our own draft lottery. As you can see here, we actually have the odds for every single team. Detroit there, number 1, 18.5%. Basically a 50-50 to get top 3 or fall down to 4. You can see all the other odds there. It's kind of cool too. Ottawa last year, kind of like a laughing stock because they missed out on number 4, which is Bowen Byram. But this year the roles actually reversed as they're the team with another team's lottery pick and the San Jose Sharks, of course, in the Erik Karlsson trade. Plus they have their own pick, which is the second best odds to pick first overall. Colorado, of course, made the playoffs. So Ottawa could potentially pick 1 and 2, which is pretty insane. Obviously, it does suck they lost out on Bowen Byram, but ended up working out pretty well for them, especially if, you know, those picks end up being both top 5 picks or something. It's going to be crazy. So, obviously, we're going to run the lottery here. I really hope Detroit gets first overall, gets Alexis Lafreniere, but we'll see what happens. Detroit hasn't picked top 3 yet since they've added the draft lottery, so I'm really hoping this is the year. Like, we're dead last by quite a bit. How many points do we have? 25. Ottawa's second last there at 37. That's an extra 6 wins on us. Like, we're pretty bad. So, let's see what happens here. Hopefully, the savior, Alexis Lafreniere, comes to Detroit. Let's go! Let's go! That's what I wanted to see. Minnesota picking number 2. Honestly, I'd say good for them because Minnesota's always like not bad enough to get a lottery pick and not good enough to really go deep in the playoffs. They could really benefit from number 2 overall. And then Buffalo gets number 3. And that's pretty crazy, seeing as they just got Dallin first overall a couple years ago. And he's going to be probably the best defenseman of the next decade. Ottawa there, of course, falls down to 4, but they could have fallen, honestly, to 5th. The Sharks pick there for them goes to 8, but still 4 and 8 for Ottawa is not too bad. LA 5 there, Devils 6, Ducks 7. You guys can see the rest of the order. So now that we actually know the order here, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on how the draft will break down. As I already mentioned, guys, first overall, I have the Detroit Red Wings taking Alexis Lafreniere. I mean, this is the obvious pick. I'm going to be so happy if we actually get him. Again, we haven't picked top 3 since they've added the draft lottery, and we really need like a superstar to build this team around. I feel like Larkin is a really good player, but I don't think he's on like that superstar level. And I mean, Lafreniere was already kind of the consensus number 1 overall pick. There were some people that were trying to make hot takes saying, oh, I'd take Byfield number 1 overall, but I think after the World Junior Tournament, it's quite clear who number 1 is. Lafreniere won MVP of the tournament. Byfield was playing 4th line. I mean, the dude's an absolute stud. His numbers in the Cure Crosby-esque, and it's actually pretty cool as he's playing for Crosby's old team, Rimouski Oceanic. So, I don't know if he's going to be the next Crosby, but he should be a very, very good player. It's a pick you can't mess up. If you get the number 1 pick, you take Lafreniere. It's just that easy. Now, speaking of Byfield, at number 2 here, the Minnesota Wild taking Quinton Byfield. I feel like after Lafreniere, Byfield's the consensus number 2. A bit of a different player, more of a power forward. Lafreniere, of course, a bit more of a skilled player, but Byfield should end up being a number 1 center. And Minnesota actually could use some centers. I know if you look at the team, it's a lot of wingers there, so I'm not sure if Byfield will be NHL ready his first year. Probably will be, and I think, you know, he's kind of the next, in my opinion, sort of like a Getzlaf, Kopitar, your big power forward center. And I mean, the Ducks won a cup with Getzlaf as the number 1 center. The Kings won 2 cups with Kopitar as their number 1 center. No reason why the Wild couldn't win a cup with Byfield as the number 1 center. He actually used to play defense as well, so I feel like his two-way game is pretty good because of that. Scoring a lot right now in the OHL, playing for the Sudbury Wolves. I feel like Wild fans would be ecstatic with his number 2 overall pick. And next up, we have the Buffalo Sabres drafted number 3. This pick I feel is in 100% lock like the last 2, but it's probably 95% going to be Lucas Raymond. I feel like there's a big 3, and it's Lafreniere, Byfield, and Raymond. Raymond's the only one where maybe if a team wants to get really cutesy and just, I don't know, for whatever reason they want to do something weird, maybe they don't take Lucas Raymond at the 3 spot, but he's kind of the consensus number 3 right now. People are even talking about him possibly going 2, even 1 before the season started, and then it was kind of like, alright, at most he's 2, he's probably 3. But he's a very, very good player, Swedish, playing actually in the SHL right now with men. I think he's got like 5 points in 16 games, which isn't too bad. And he looked pretty good at the World Juniors past couple weeks, having 4 points in 7 games. And right now, if you actually look at his rankings, you can see it's 4, 3, 2, 2, and 3. So pretty much like everyone's consensus number 3 there. Obviously, the 2 guys that have him at 2 have him above Byfield. No one doesn't have Lafreniere number 1. And basically, he kind of does it all as a skilled winger. Very good playmaker. He's got a good shot. He's got a good two-way game. He's a good skater. Like, he's pretty much the entire package, honestly, in a forward, except he plays wing opposed to center. So, reading up on him, I could find hardly any flaws. So, I feel like the Sabres get a very good pick here at number 3. Him playing with Eichel for like the next 10 years, that could be a sick dynamic duo. And next, you guys number 4 with the first of the 2 Ottawa picks, and this is where the draft really opens up. Honestly, Ottawa has so many different options here, and based on what they do, it's going to affect the rest of the draft. So honestly, I think they're going to go kind of crazy here and pick the guy from their backyard in Marco Rossi. He's a guy whose draft stock seems to just keep rising as the year progresses, and the fact that like he's in their backyard, I feel like they're going to know him better than everyone else, and if he is such a good player that, he keeps going up in terms of where he's projected to get picked, Ottawa's really going to know how good he is, and if he is the real deal, I feel like they're not going to want to let him go to anybody else. He's a bit smaller player, 5'9", but very skilled. I think he's got, 69 points right now in 29 games in the OHL. He's actually from Austria, which is kind of cool. Obviously, Thomas Vanek, some other guys from there. And when you look at the rankings, he's pretty much a top 10 player by most rankings. But I have seen some other people who are very high on him saying how he should be a top 5 pick. And like I was saying, I feel like Ottawa, because number 4 could go anywhere, they're going to know him the most, and that's going to kind of influence this pick here, and they're going to go Marco Rossi, which honestly, I don't think is a bad pick at all. I feel like there's just so many different options at number 4, and I feel like they should know more about him than any other team, so if they do like him, I feel like, why not pull the trigger? And next year, guys, number 5, the LA Kings taking the German Tim Stützle. I feel like this is a very good pick for them. Obviously, you got Alex Turcotte at 4 last year, and something they've really been lacking is just skill up front. So you add in Turcotte, you add in Stützle, also they have Lardy still in the system. I feel like LA's definitely going to start, working on that rebuild. And Stützle, kind of similar to Seider last year, playing for the exact same team, Mannheim. He's actually got almost a point per game right now. Even though it's not the NHL or anything, putting up those kind of numbers in a professional men's league, I think is very impressive. And as you can see there, 18 assists, 5 goals. Clearly a bit more of a playmaker, but obviously, like I mentioned, very skilled, already playing with men. I think this is a great pick for the Kings. And like I mentioned, with Turcotte and Velarde already there, this might be the start of something special in LA. And next year, guys, number 6, at the Devils drafting Yaroslav Askarov. He's the Russian goaltender, supposed to be the best goalie prospect since Carey Price. I've seen him kind of anywhere from 3 to 10 in this first round of this year's draft, and honestly, I feel like at the 6th spot, this is a no-brainer pick for the Devils. In my opinion, their biggest need by far is a goaltender, and it kind of sucks too, because Corey Schneider, when he was on his A game, playing really well for the Devils, they didn't really have a team in front of him, and by the time they got the team, due to injuries or whatever else, Schneider was no longer that good, so the timing was really just not there, unfortunately, but I think Askarov is supposed to be the real deal. He actually played 1 game in the KHL, put up really good numbers, 2 goals against, a .92 save percentage, but in the VHL, which is like the league below the KHL, a 2.38 and a .922 as a 17-year-old goaltender, like, that's pretty impressive. Also, too, he catches right, which I think makes him honestly just hard to play against, because most players are used to shooting on a left-handed goalie. I just think, a very good goalie prospect. When you look at the rest of the players available, I feel like none of those guys give them something they don't already have in Jack Hughes or Nico Hischier, which is like a skilled forward that is hopefully going to, turn into something. I feel like it doesn't matter how many skilled players you have, you're not going to win without goaltending. So for me, Askarov for the Devils, no-brainer pick, and honestly, they should be happy with that. Now, speaking of skill guys, at number 7 here, the Anaheim Ducks taking Cole Perfetti, which I think is a great pick for them. Most people have him around 5 to 7, so this would actually be almost on the low end for him. I think he's a very good player. I'm quite high on him, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw him actually get drafted to the Ducks in my Detroit Red Wings franchise mode, and for some reason, I just thought it looked right, and seeing the Ducks drafting 7 here, the way it breaks down, I feel like Perfetti is just destined to be an Anaheim Duck. I don't know what it is. So, like I was mentioning, the rankings there, you can see 6 to 8. Right now, 63 points, 37 games, playing for Sagan on the OHL. He actually tore up the under-18s. As you can see there, he had 12 points in 5 games at the Lincoln Gretzky Cup. Again, just a very skilled forward. I think this is honestly something the Ducks could use. I don't know if he's going to make the NHL quite next year, but a couple of years' time, have him into that lineup. Sort of similar to LA, I feel like Anaheim adding Cole Perfetti here with Trevor Zegras last year should really help bolster that forward group in a couple years' time. And next year, number 8, we have the Senators' 2nd pick. Now, I've always been a big proponent of best player available, regardless of position, but if it happens to actually fill a positional need, then even better. So, for instance, the Devils, I think Askarov, you could make the argument, was the best player available. They need a goalie. Go get him. For the Senators now, I feel like of the players available, they're all pretty equal skill, so why not take the best defenseman in the draft, Jamie Drysdale, gives you a forward and defenseman with your 2 picks. I think it works out perfectly. I don't know if you guys watched him at All the World Juniors, but he looked very good there as a 17-year-old. And I think the guys on the broadcast said he's the first 17-year-old defenseman for Canada at the World Juniors since Aaron Ekblad, so pretty good company to be in. Right now he's playing for Erie Otters in the OHL, putting up really good numbers there. 31 points in 29 games. He had 3 points at the World Juniors. He actually had 5 points in 5 games at the under-18s. Again, best defenseman in this draft. I feel like if you're the Senators, you just got Rossi. You're kind of looking at Drysdale here. You're looking at Holtz. You're looking at Lundell. For me, they're all pretty equal there for the guys available. Why not get the best defenseman there? Right-handed shot. You could have him and Shabazz, your top pairing D, for the next decade. Honestly, this is a no-brainer pick for me if I'm the Senators. Next year, guys, at number 9, with the Montreal Canadiens, who are actually the host of this draft, so I could definitely see them trying to make a play for first overall if they don't win the lottery, just because Lafreniere is actually from a town just outside Montreal, but I feel like there's just nothing they could really package together to get Lafreniere. It would cost them like Caulfield plus multiple firsts. Like, I just don't see it happening. So if they keep their pick here at number 9, I think they're going to go with Anton Lundell. For me, it was between Lundell and Holtz, but I feel like Montreal's still looking for that first-line center. Lundell plays center and wing, where Holtz is just a winger. He's also a bit better defensively, I think. Also can score, which is obviously Holtz's big thing. Another Finn there, so maybe, I don't know, having him on the team can help kind of get Kotkaniemi going. I feel like he hasn't really turned into the player they thought he would be, taking him 3rd overall. But Lundell, like I said, a very good player, can be center or wing, has a good shot, he's a good playmaker. He's actually got 14 points in 22 games playing in the Finnish men's league, which, again, I think is always really impressive, especially when you look at how old they are. He's actually already 18, though, as he has a late birthday there on October 3rd. So, again, I think for me, it comes down to Lundell or Holtz, and Lundell can score just about as good as Holtz, but can play center, a bit better defensively. So him being a bit more of a complete player than Holtz is what I think is going to make Montreal pick him at the 9 spot. Now, speaking of Holtz, I think that's who Chicago's going to take here at number 10. Honestly, it's kind of a crazy pick for them. Before the season started, Holtz was considered to be like a top 5, if not number 4 behind Lafreniere, Byfield, and Raymond. So dropping all the way to 10, I think is a great pick for the Blackhawks. Now, when you look at Chicago's team, I feel like they definitely need defense more than anything. But as I mentioned, you always want to take the best player available. Unless it's a wash, then of course, go for the positional need. And in my opinion, Holtz is just so much better than the next available defenseman. Really, after Drysdale, there's a big drop-off on defense. I could honestly see him being like the only defenseman taken in the top 15. So I feel like Chicago has to go Holtz here. If you look at the rankings, 11-5, 5, 4, 9. Like, number 10 for him is really good. 8 points right now, I think, in the men's league. So again, number 10, Alexander Holtz. I feel like Blackhawks fans should be very happy with that pick. And next at number 11, the New York Rangers taking Dylan Holloway. He's actually already playing college hockey for the University of Wisconsin as a late birthday, September 23rd there, so he's already 18. And honestly, he's supposed to be like a pretty well-rounded center from everything I've read. Can be center actually or wing. Right there looking at the rankings, you can see 10 kind of makes sense for him. 7, 11, 9, 13, 12. Currently has, 7 points there in 17 games. As a freshman playing for Wisconsin on a pretty stacked team too. Like, Turcotte and Caulfield are both on that team. Condre Miller's on that team. So, honestly, I feel like he's, playing for a good team there. Putting up decent numbers as a freshman. I think the Rangers get a pretty solid player there. They should be able to fit into their top 6. I'm not sure if he'll be a first-line center, but very good chance of being a second-line guy. And next at number 12, I think the Nashville Predators are going to go with the defenseman. Looking at all the players available, I feel like at this point the defense is pretty even with the forwards. And I think if you look at their team, they really could use a defenseman at this point after trading away Subban. And in regards to forward, they have a lot of depth there. Tolvanen's in the system. They just drafted Tomasino last year. I think they're going to go with Justin Barron. Plays for the Moosehead in the QMJHL. Was actually a lot higher, I think, before the season started, but he's actually got an injury right now. So currently has 17 points in 27 games, which honestly isn't too bad for a defenseman at all. Now, number 12 might be a bit high on him. If you look at the rankings, you'll see 9, 10, 16, and then 29, which seems very low to me. But again, there's not that many defensemen. So if you're a team that does want one, you're going to have to probably take them before you'd want to. So they obviously have the option to trade back. But looking at the players, I think he's pretty even. Why risk trading back? Just make that pick. So after that, guys, at number 13, the Calgary Flames. And I feel like they're going to take the next best player available, which in my eyes would be Noel Gunler. Now, he's another Swede playing in the SHL right now, just like Raymond and Holtz. Currently playing for Luleå. I think, what's he have? 8 points there in 30 games. Again, playing with men, like, that's not too bad. You look at the rankings there, 10, 7, 17, 12, 11. I feel like it's a really good spot for Calgary to get him. And I feel like, honestly, Calgary probably is going to make the playoffs, I still think, in my mind. But if they are picking here, I think for them, they're a good enough team that really you just take whoever the best player is. And I feel like Gunler probably has the highest sin of all the players available. Good shot, just good offensive player. Can play right wing, can play left wing. Really no reason to overthink the pick. I feel like next best player, take him. And next, you guys, number 14, the Columbus Blue Jackets taking Connor Zary. He's another guy whose draft stock's really risen over the course of the year. If you look at it here, if somebody has him ranked 50, then the highest there, McKean's at number 8. So definitely, pretty wide spectrum there of rankings, but he's a solid player. Another guy with a late birthday, so he's already 18, playing the WHL. He actually had just over a point per game last year. This year, averaging much higher. He's got 48 right now and 35. And I find that usually in the CHL, the WHL is the hardest league to score in, then the OHL, then the Q. So putting up those kind of numbers in the WHL is very impressive. And again, at the 14th spot, I feel like it's a really good pick for Columbus. They could definitely, I think, use a forward too going forward. I think, like, defensively, they're pretty set. Jones, Rowensky, Nudavera. So I feel like they're more than fine here taking a forward, and Connor Zary, in my opinion, is probably the best available player. The final pick here is the Florida Panthers at number 15. I have them taking Rodion Amirov, so another Russian here. A couple years ago, they took Datasenko, who actually played with Amirov at the World Juniors past couple weeks. Amirov, though, 3.7 games. Isn't too bad. Currently playing the KHL, 2 points, but KHL is literally the best men's league in the world behind the NHL, so pretty tough there, even as an 18-year-old. Good player, winger, supposed to have like pretty good offensive skill set. This one scout here says he has all the offensive tools to score as a pro, so again, Bringing in like a scoring winger, I feel like why not? Florida's got their goalie last year in Spencer Knight. I feel like the defense pretty solid. And again, they already had Denisenko, so maybe they can have a bit of like a Russian duo there. Adding Amirov here, I feel like the pick just makes sense, especially since he's supposed to go around mid-first round anyways. This is kind of where he's supposed to go. You got Denisenko. To me, it's the perfect fit. So that is it, guys, for my 2020 mock draft. Again, it's just the first version. I'm going to do another one after the season ends, and we actually have the draft lottery. We know for sure who's picking 1, 2, and 3. Fingers crossed the Red Wings actually get that first overall pick, but I'll have to wait and see what happens. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, leave that thumbs up. Also in the comments section, let me know what you think about my picks. I'm sure a bunch of you guys are going to have different thoughts than me, so I'd love to hear from you in that comment section. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.